Library of Heaven's Path. Author, Hong Sa Tianya. Chap
5.
Tip? Hearing these words, Master Mo Yang staggered and almost puked blood. Tip your head. I am a master appraiser. I don't lack money. Like I will take your tip. With a hardened face, Master Mo Yang was on the verge of exploding. At this point, he would be placed in an awkward situation regardless of whether he took it or not. If he took it, it meant he would be accepting the tip of others' tip. In that case, he would be no different from a waiter or a servant. If he refused, just the action of the other party alone caused him to feel embarrassed. Suddenly, a thought floated into his mind. Could the lad have foreseen this in advance? That's why he took his money, so as to intentionally cause him embarrassment? You don't want it? Great, I can save 1,000 then. You must know that one can buy a lot of things with 1,000 gold coins. Sensing his hesitation, Zhang Xuan placed the note back into his embrace and muttered by the side. Hearing these words, Master Mo Yang was on the verge of collapsing. You sure are lucky choosing the right one. However, this doesn't mean that you have won. All right, I still have things to attend to, so it is about time for me to leave. With coldness in his gaze, Master Mo Yang stood up, flung his arm and prepared to leave. His decisive action impressed Zhang Xuan. As expected of a professional scammer, the moment things go awry, he leaves. His decisiveness is truly worthy of respect. Regardless of whether Zhang Xuan was lucky or he was truly skilled in appraising, he would no longer be treated as a lunatic after earning so much in an instant. Rather than grinding it out with him, it was much wiser for him to end it here. After all, he had already profited greatly from appraising for the others. The longer the argument carried on for, the higher the possibility of something going wrong for him. The results of our competition isn't conclusive yet. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? Given Master Mo Yang's previous actions, there was no way Zhang Xuan could allow him to escape just like this. Indeed, Master, don't be in such a hurry to leave. You also made a profit from the item you bought. This can't be considered as his victory. Master has only underestimated his enemy. That's why he didn't choose the most valuable treasure from the start. We believe in you. After numerous days of effort, the master had roped in a large group of loyal followers. I have already said before that I have matters to attend to. Farewell. Master Mo Yang waved his hand. Even if you have urgent matters to attend to, I doubt that a few minutes will matter much. There are still things that I would like your guidance on. Zhang Xuan blocked the other party's escape path. What kind of things? Master Mo Yang stopped and harumphed coldly. This friend. Seeing him cease his movements, Zhang Xuan smiled faintly and stared at the elderly who had obtained the slot for appraisal and bought the ornamental vase. What is it? The elderly walked over. He was still hugging the artifact containing the ornamental vase as though he was hugging a precious treasure. Given its size, he would be unable to clean it up within a short period of time. Thus, he chose to stay to join in the spectacle. If I'm not wrong, the item you spent 80,000 gold coins to purchase is an ornamental vase. Furthermore, it is a broken one, and it is not even worth a single gold coin. Zhang Xuan pointed to his artifact and stated, Ornamental vase. Not even worth a single cent? What kind of joke is this? This is something the master chose for me. The face of the elderly darkened as he chastised Zhang Xuan. Cleaning up such a large artifact will take a long time. At the minimum, you will require at least a day. How about this? You smash it on the floor directly, and if I'm wrong, I will pay you 80,000 gold coins. However, if I'm right, it means that you have fallen into his trap and got scammed. If so, you can just demand the money back from the one who scammed your money. Zhang Xuan offered with a grin. Smash it? The elderly was taken aback by his words. The words of the other party made sense. Cleaning up such a large artifact would surely take a lot of time. However, if he were to smash it on the floor, it would only take an instant. If it was truly as the other party claimed and it turns out to be just an ornamental vase, then he would have made a big loss. Even for him, a loss of 80,000 gold coins was enough to send him into bankruptcy. If the artifact turned out to be a fake, he would probably commit suicide. If the young man were to say these words a moment ago, he would simply scoff and disregard his words. However, the other party had just bought a treasure, which won him a revenue of 765 times. This very fact made his determination waver. Worry not. A true treasure won't shatter that easily. Even if you were to smash it, it is very unlikely for it to break. You won't make a loss. Sensing his hesitation, Zhang Xuan pushed on. All right. After a short moment of contemplation, the elderly casually smashed the artifact in his embrace on the floor. Dang lang! With a crisp sound, the giant artifact shattered apart, and its true form revealed itself amidst the moss and mud. Indeed, it turned out to be a shattered vase. It is really an ornamental vase? After taking a look, the crowd verified that it was indubitably an ornamental vase. Even if this object was an antique left behind from the ancient times, it still wasn't worth much money. Needless to say, 80,000 gold coin, no one would buy it for even 10 gold coins. What is going on here? Seeing the broken fragments on the floor, the elderly froze in shock. Initially, he had placed all of his hope on this artifact to earn him big bucks, yet it all ended up like this. How could he possibly not go berserk? What is happening? You will have to ask this Master Mo Yang. If I'm not wrong, he worked together with the dealer to build his fame as an appraiser so as to attract everyone's attention. Then, through his appraisals, he is able to get you all to spend big bucks to buy the artifacts he decides upon, thus profiting from it. Chang Sun looked at Master Mo Yang and the dealer, and the corners of his mouth crept upwards. As for why he was able to choose objects of high value, the reason is simple. Since the cleaning process did not happen before you, they are able to switch the item inside with another treasure they prepared beforehand and claim that it is the one he had just picked out. Anyway, no one saw the cleaning process, so no one is able to refute his claims. Is that true? Hearing Zhang Xuan's words, everyone's trust in Master Mo Yang wavered. After picking out a treasure before everyone else, Zhang Xuan successfully exposed a fake treasure that Master Mo Yang appraised. The crowd, who had complete trust in Master Mo Yang a moment ago, was starting to get suspicious. Dang lang! While they were still busy contemplating over who was right and who was wrong, another crisp sound echoed amidst the crowd. Another fellow who had received the appraisal slot smashed the artifact he bought as well. This time, it wasn't an ornamental vase, but a useless pottery. It was clear with a single look that it wasn't worth much. Fake. It is a fake. I spent 60,000 gold coins to buy this. They are scammers. Seeing the broken shards on the floor, those who bought the appraised items knew that they have been scammed as well and started roaring frenziedly. Peng! Hong! Poo! With the two precedents, the remaining few could no longer hold it in. One after another, towards the artifacts they just bought, they either threw, smashed with a hammer, or cut it open with a blade. Taking a look at what was inside, all of their faces paled. They are all fakes. They are all worthless trash. We have been duped. This Master Mo Yang is a fraud. If there was only one fake, the crowd would still be able to accept it. After all, even an appraiser couldn't possibly pick treasures out of artifacts 100% of the time. However, when all 9 of the artifacts that he had appraised turned out to be trash, it could only mean to say that he was a scammer. To think that you still acted so compassionate and benevolent. Pui, you are just a fraudster. The berserk crowd surrounded Master Mo Yang and the dealer tightly as they glared at them intensely. At this moment, even the thought of killing them flashed through their minds. After all, no one's money came from the sky. If no one saw through the sham and they only realized that it was a scam after they were done cleaning, who could they find to redress their grievances? Don't listen to the nonsense of this lad. Even master appraisers have moments when they are off. I am truly unacquainted with this artifact dealer. Seeing the murderous glare in the eyes of the crowd, Master Mo Yang realized that it was no longer possible to fool them and roared in anger instead. If it was a moment ago, the crowd would have definitely listened to his words. But now, no one paid him any heed anymore. Ping, 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 ping. The sound of someone hitting on a human sandbag echoed from the congregation of the crowd, following which cries of agony could be heard. In this ordeal, not even the artifact dealer was spared. As for the initiator of the incident, Zhang Xuan, he had sneaked off the moment chaos broke out inside. The world was humongous, and every day there were people who were going about scamming others, and there were people who were scammed by them. He wasn't an omnipotent god, and it was impossible for him to interfere in all of them. If it wasn't for Master Mo Yang's excessive mouth, he couldn't be bothered to expose him. Now that those who were scammed were aware of the situation, naturally, they have their own ways of dealing with the problem. There was no need for Zhang Xuan to worry about them. Huang Yu Bookstore. Walking slowly along the market, a giant store appeared before him. In it, there were all kinds of books filling the bookshelves within. The store dealt with medicinal herbs, weapons, savage beasts, and naturally books. That was also his main motive for choosing to enter this store. Let me take a look. Zhang Xuan lifted his leg and stepped into the store. Gongzi, are you here to buy books or to browse through books? The moment he stepped into the bookstore, a young lady stepped forward to welcome him. Around 17 to 18 years old, her pure face and appearance were particularly alluring. Even though she was still slightly lacking compared to Shenbi Ru Laoshi, she could be considered as an exceptional beauty. Are there secret manuals on Fighter 6 Dan cultivation technique here? Zhang Xuan revealed his objective to her. Fighter 6 Dan cultivation technique. Gongzi must be joking. Such secret manuals on cultivation technique cost a hefty sum. A little business like ours doesn't have the qualifications to be selling them. If you want some entrance-level cultivation technique manuals, we have a few of it here, though. The lady shook her head. The books sold in their store mainly consisted of human geography, biographies of reputable figures and such. Cultivation techniques were something highly confidential to cultivators, so how could it be allowed to be browsed through or sold freely? Then, do you know any stores that sell them? Confirming his suspicion that the manuals weren't on sale here, Zhang Xuan sighed and looked at her with expectation. Sell them? The lady shook her head. It is impossible for anyone in Tianshuan Royal City to be selling cultivation techniques of this level. However, some experts do collect quite a few of them. If you have an amicable relationship with them, it might be possible for them to allow you to look through them. Allow me to look through them? Taking a look is great as well. Zhang Xuan's eyes lit up. With the Library of Heaven's Path, there was no need for him to buy the books. As long as he was able to lay his hand on those books, just by flipping through it, a corresponding book would be compiled automatically. Do you know any seniors who collect such manuals in their residence and allow others to browse through them? He couldn't resist asking. Allow others to browse through them? The lady frowned, and just as she was about to shake her head, she suddenly thought of something, and slyness flitted across her eyes. She smiles and says, I do know of one. However, he is known for being eccentric. When he is in high spirits, he won't mind even if you were to take all of the books in his house. But if he is in a bad mood, ignoring the fact whether he will allow you to browse through his books or not, he might not even allow you to walk through his door. Such a person exists in the world? Zhang Xuan frowned. He continued, Then, may I trouble you to guide me to seek that senior? It just happens that there isn't much business today. I will bring you there now." The young lady smiled. "Thanks for the trouble." He didn't expect the lady to be so helpful as to bring him there personally, so he nodded his head in gratitude. With the lady leading ahead, the two of them walked out of the bookstore. Through their idle chatter, Zhang Xuan learned that the name of the lady was Huang Yu. This bookstore was opened by her. Judging from the appearance of the bookstore, it seemed to be newly opened, at maximum around 10 days or so. "You were saying that there are many books in the home of that senior?" After walking a distance, Zhang Xuan couldn't resist asking. Naturally. That senior is a famous scholar in the entire kingdom, and he was once Emperor Shenjui's tutor. He is a person who is able to freely go in and out of the kingdom's book collection vault. "Do you think that it is possible for the books in his home to not be many?" Huang Yu said reverently. "Emperor Shenjui's teacher? That means he used to be an emperor's tutor?" Zhang Xuan was stunned. The current emperor of Tianshuan Kingdom was named Shenjui. No one was aware of the specific level of his cultivation. They only knew that he was the strongest person in the entire kingdom, unmatched by anyone. The tutors of such a figure were carefully handpicked and have to undergo numerous selection processes before their positions were confirmed. Even the principal of Hongtian Academy didn't possess such qualifications. He is his painting and calligraphy teacher, and not his martial arts teacher. Even so, he is still an incredible figure who is deeply respected by the emperor. At this point, Wang Yu's face turned solemn as she warned Zhang Xuan. "This old Mr. Lu Chen is an elegant person who is very particular about decorum. He detests juniors talking nonsense before him. When we arrive, it is best for you not to speak too easily. Otherwise, it will be impossible for you to be given permission to browse through his books." "Un?" Zhang Xuan nodded his head. I also have my own matters to attend to. When we arrive, you will have to deal with the matter of borrowing books yourself. Don't mess up my matter, along with yours." Huang Yu glanced over with her beautiful eyes as she spoke. "Don't worry, I won't put you in a difficult position." Comprehending the meaning behind her words, Zhang Xuan smiled in response. He was already grateful over the fact that she was willing to bring him over. If he was capable, he would be able to borrow the books. However, even if he ended up in failure, nothing could be done about it. No matter what, he was still a teacher. How could he put a young lady in an awkward position? The old mister prefers juniors who are more obedient. No matter what the old mister says, you just have to nod your head. You should also know that a great scholar like him tend to be more conservative, so his thoughts may diverge from that of us, youngsters. Just try not to squabble with him over these," Huang Yu reminded him once again. The two of them soon walked out of the market. After passing by a series of alleys that would leave one confused, they arrived at a residence. "This is the residence of old Mr. Lu Chen." Huang Yu pointed towards the residence. Zhang Xuan raised his head to take a look at the entire residence. It wasn't as vast and extravagant as he expected. It seemed like the residence of an ordinary household, and there wasn't even a door plaque at the entrance. If it weren't for Huang Yu leading him here, he might have thought that this was the residence of a normal civilian. This is the place where the emperor's tutor lives? Zhang Xuan found it hard to believe. Old Mr. Lu Chen lives a thrifty life. There were many times when Emperor Shenjui offered to reconstruct his residence, but he firmly rejected the offers. Noticing his doubt, Huang Yu explained. Zhang Xuan nodded his head as his respect for the emperor's tutor grew. Despite possessing such social status, he was able to remain incorruptible and thrifty without being changed by power. It seemed like this old mister was a sentimental and straightforward person. Da. Just as they were about to knock on the door, a carriage rushed over. The distinct sound of galloping horses echoed through the alley. Jia! The carriage stopped beside the two. A young man parted the curtains of the carriage and walked out. He was a 17 to 18-year-old youth dressed in white. Tall and slim, his face was exquisite, similar to a white jade. With a single look, it was clear to see that he was a scion, and he exuded an aura of superiority. Xiao Yu. You are here, too. Seeing Huang Yu, the white-clothed Gongzi's eyes twinkled and immediately tried to fawn upon her. I am Huang Yu. Don't give me such a mushy nickname. We aren't that familiar with one another yet. Huang Yu curled her lips contemptuously. Given the relationship between our families, it isn't too much to call you Xiao Yu. Besides, wasn't that how I called you when you were younger as well? Are you here to visit old Mr. Lu Chen as well? The white-clothed Gongzi smiled and flung his robe. He struck a pose as though declaring that victory was in his hands. Heh, don't think too much about that object. It will definitely come under my possession. It is hard to tell whose it will be at this point. I only fear that you will cry then. Huang Yu didn't step down to his taunting. We'll see then. The white-clothed Gongzi chuckled. At this point, he finally noticed Zhang Xuan and frowned. Who is this? Xiao Yu, why did you bring an outsider here? No matter who is it that I bring, it is none of your business. Huang Yu pursed her lips, not sparing the other party any face. Flad. No matter who you are, I advise you to stay away from Xiao Yu. She isn't someone a small figure like you can lay your hands upon. Looking at Zhang Xuan, the white-clothed Gongzi narrowed his eyes and spat coldly. Zhang Xuan didn't expect to be threatened when he was only here to borrow a book. A strong feeling of helplessness surged through him. Using the words from his previous world, he was lucky like a dead mongoose. All Huang Yu did was to bring him here. They were just barely acquaintances. Do you really have to go that far? Threatened by someone, Zhang Xuan felt displeased. He stretched his back and waved away his concerns. You interfere too much. My apologies, but I don't think that you need to concern yourself over this. Fine. I hope that you don't regret your words. He didn't expect that a lad he had never met before would dare to speak to him in such a manner. The white-clothed Gongzi's eyebrows shot up and his eyes narrowed. Turning around, he ignored the other two and walked over to the front of the courtyard to knock on the door. Why are you so rash? As the white-clothed man knocked on the door, Huang Yu's anxious voice sounded by Zhang Xuan's ears. Why? Zhang Xuan looked at her in puzzlement. Do you know who he is? For you to dare to speak to him like that? Seeing the oblivious look on the other party's face, Huang Yu felt a little helpless. It was truly hard to tell whether this fellow has a strong heart or that there was something wrong with his head. Who cares about who he is, anyway? Zhang Xuan shrugged. What does his identity have to do with me? You... Seeing the expression on the young man's face, Huang Yu was starting to doubt if she had brought a fool over. Seeing the indifferent look in his eyes, she was able to tell that he truly wasn't bothered over the identity of the person he just offended. At a loss for words, she could only introduce the person before to him. He is the sole son of Zhenan Wang, Bai Shun. Zhenan Wang was known as the #1 authoritative subject of Tianshuan Kingdom, his position beneath only that of Emperor Shenzhui. Offending his only son meant that it would be hard for him to make a living in Tianshuan Kingdom. Initially, she thought that revealing the identity of the other party would induce fear in this fellow, and that he would ask her on how he should resolve the problem. Contrary to her expectations, Zhang Xuan looked over with a confused expression. Zhenan Wang. Who is he? One Xiao Yu. Little Yu, a pet name for Huang Yu.